In the quest to find true love, King Chukwuebuka did the unimaginable, risking the throne of Obioma Kingdom. There lived a ruler, a wise king called Eze Chukwuebuka. His kingdom flourished under his leadership with vast lands, thriving markets, and others who loved him dearly. However, despite his riches and wisdom, the Eze carried a heavy burden. He had not yet found a wife. Every maiden in the land longed to be his queen, but he doubted their intentions. Did they love him for who he was or for his crown and wealth? This question tormented him. His chief advisor, Eze Okonkwo, suggested that he marry a princess from a neighboring kingdom. But Eze Chukwuebuka shook his head. "I do not seek a wife chosen for political gain. I seek true love." One night, while sitting under the sacred Udala tree in the palace courtyard, an idea struck him. He would disguise himself as an ordinary man to find a wife, and who would love him for himself, not his status. The next morning, the Eze left his palace, dressed in old clothes, and journeyed to Umuaka, a nearby town known for its bustling markets and hard-working people. He took on the name Chukwudi and found work at a roadside mechanic shop owned by a kind old man named Pa Nwafo. For months, Chukwudi worked tirelessly, fixing carts, bicycles, and even the few cars that had passed through the town. He slept in a small room behind the shop, ate simple meals, and spoke humbly to everyone he met. The people of Umuaka grew fond of him, seeing him as a hard-working and kind-hearted young man. Among them was Adaeze, the daughter of a poor widow. She sold roasted plantains and groundnuts by the roadside to support her mother and younger siblings. Despite her struggles, Adaeze was full of laughter and kindness. One evening, as Chukwudi passed by, he noticed Adaeze struggling to lift a heavy sack of firewood. Without hesitation, he rushed to help her. "Thank you, Chukwudi," she said, smiling warmly. "It's nothing, Adaeze. No one should carry a burden alone," he replied. From that day, a friendship blossomed between them. She would bring him roasted plantains during his lunch breaks, and he would help her fetch water from the stream. Then their love was tested. Months passed, and their bond grew stronger. Chukwudi knew he had found a woman he wanted to marry, but he had to be sure she loved him for who he was, not for what he could offer. One evening, as they sat by the stream, he looked straight into her eyes and said, "Adaeze, if I ask for your hand in marriage, would you say yes? Even though I am just a poor mechanic." Adaeze blushed but held his gaze. "Chukwudi, wealth does not move me. A man's heart is more valuable than gold. I would rather marry a kind, hard-working man than a rich one without love." Her words touched his heart deeply. He had found his queen. Then came the grand revelation. The next morning, Chukwudi returned to his palace for the first time in months. His royal guards were stunned and his chief advisor Eze Okonkwo was speechless. "Prepare a royal procession to Umuaka," the king commanded. Later that day, a grand convoy of horses, drummers, and warriors arrived in the town. The people of Umuaka were shocked as they saw their humble mechanic, Chukwudi, in the finest royal robes, seated on a golden stool. Adaeze, seeing him, gasped. She looked at him with wide eyes, unsure of what to believe. Eze Chukwuebuka stepped forward. "Adaeze, I am not just Chukwudi, the mechanic. I am the king of Obioma, but my heart remains the same. Will you still marry me?" Tears of joy filled Adaeze's eyes as she knelt before him. "My king, my answer remains the same. I love you, not for your crown, but for your heart." Immediately, a royal wedding was staged. The entire kingdom celebrated the wedding of Eze Chukwuebuka and Queen Adaeze. Songs were sung of how the great king disguised himself as a poor mechanic to find love. And so they ruled together, not just as king and queen, but as soulmates, proving that true love is not found in riches, but in the heart.